So we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter 32, verse number 8. And we're reading Vaishnava Toshni of Sri Jiva Goswami. We read some part of it yesterday, so we'll continue with that. So this verse is the last of the 7 verses where 7 or 6 verses where they started from 4 to 8, 5 verses. So where Sri Jiva Goswami and also Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, they identify 7 principal gopis, how they manifested their bhav when they saw Krishna after a big separation on the Rāsa-līlā night. So this we read that there are 2 groups, Tadiyatamayi and Madhyatamayi, Dakshina and Vamya, and there are 4 gopis belonging to 3 gopis belonging to the Tadiyatamayi or Vipaksha group, beginning with Chandravali, Shadya, Padma, and then 3 belonging to Radharani's camp, Radha, Lalita, Vishakha, and 1 Tatastha. Because there are 4 groups, Apaksha, Vipaksha, Srohit and Tatastha. So there is 1 belonging to Srohit, which is not mentioned here, that takes from the Padma Purana. No, this was Srohit was mentioned here. It's Shyamala.
Baba, Srohit means?
Hrit means heart. Hrit means heart. It's easy. So means good.
Good heart.
So one hardaya. So means one who likes to do good to you. That is called Suhit. It's one of the name for friend also. Suhid, Mitra, Sakha. There are 3 words used for friend. In English you say friend, but in Sanskrit they have different connotation. So Mitra means one who has buttery heart for you. His heart like a, because this comes from dhatu, mid snehane. And Sakha is who is your playmate, who is a companion. So little different connotation. So that's what we read. So then they identified them according to their bhava, and they said that this comes primarily, the names come from Skanda Purana, Prahlad Samhita, part of Skanda Purana, where these gopis they speak in a similar vein to Uddhava, who came with a message from Dwarka. And since he is dear to Krishna, friend of Krishna, and looks like him, so their bhava manifested towards him as it would have manifested towards Krishna. Like it happens, like embassies are the representative of a particular country. So when people get mad at some country, they go and try to attack the embassy. Right? This happens quite commonly. Because that embassy is, although it is in your country, but it is a representative of the country on whom you are upset. If they are happy, they don't do anything. But when they are upset, then they go and demonstrate, break, attack. Happened to the Swedish embassy in Iran yesterday. They burnt it. So this Uddhava is a representative, is like an embassy of Krishna from Dwarka. Coming to Raja, so gopis are venting their feelings towards him. So from that, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, first one of course was Sanatana Goswami to do it, and others are following in his footsteps. So he then tries to compare the mood of the gopis there in Skanda Purana, because there the name is given, and then see the mood in these verses and then point out, okay, this gopi is this one and this is this one. That's what was done here. So Purushottamji, you have something to say?
Yeah, I was rather puzzled in that sense that though Skanda Puran is classified in Tamoguna, but here the most confidential pastimes and description is given so vividly in Skanda Puran, which is not there even in Bhagavad Puran. So that's kind of amazes me.
Sometimes you sleep is in Tamoguna, and you get some good ideas in sleep also. You get sometimes even some scientists got some discoveries in sleep. So when we say that these are in Tamoguna, this is also a misunderstanding. Then we think that everything written there is wrong. People think like that. Recently somebody else was also asking a similar question. They think that, oh, this is a Tamoguna. Why Radha is not mentioned in Bhāgavatam, which is Sattvic Purana, and then it is mentioned in some Tamasic Purana, like Skanda Purana. So it does not mean that now Skanda Purana everything is wrong there, or everything is just going through. If you read it, you will be doomed. Our Goswamis also read it, otherwise how did they find it? So that is not the purpose. The purpose is that those people who are predominantly their Shraddha is influenced by tamas, so they will be influenced by deities which are described in these Puranas. That is the meaning. So that does not mean that now you disrespect them. After all, they are also written by Vyasa. It's only when it comes to Tattva, then you have to match it with Bhagavatam, and if it is not matching, then you have to interpret that. So this is the pedagogy, or this is what is called Mimamsa. So the Mimamsa is not that Skanda Purana is wrong or you should reject it. But there are statements in the Vedas itself. Vedas are considered as the highest Purana, highest Pramana. Shruti Smriti Virodhastu, Shruti Reva Baliyasi. If there is a contradiction between Veda and anything else, then Veda takes precedence. But even in Veda there are statements which don't match. One is contradiction between two Shastra, another is contradiction between two Pramanas. So Veda is a Shabda Pramana. Then you have Prataksh Pramana. So now Veda says something which does not match with your Prataksha, then what will you do now? So you will immediately say, well, drop the Prataksha, right? In favor of Veda. And that's what we will say. But not always. Sometimes you actually don't drop the Prataksha, but you interpret Veda to match with Prataksha. So there is a statement in Veda, Aditya Yupaha. That this Yupa is a pillar made of wood, which is used to tie the animal. So it is made of wood, Khadir, different woods, but Khadir is one of them. So now there is a statement that this Yupa is Aditya. Aditya means sun god. Aditya is the name of sun. And this Yupa, means this pillar, is sun. Now we have eyes to see, and we see that the pillar is not sun. In fact, if it was sun, there was no need for them to tell us that. We see the sun and we know it is sun. Why should Veda tell us something which we already know? Agyat Gyapkam Shastram. Shastra tells that which you do not know. That is the Vedasya Vedatvam. Innopayena that which you do not know by prataksha, pramana, etc. Tam vidanti vedena iti vedasya vedata. That you know by the Veda, which is not known by anything else. So now we know that what is sun, and this yupa is sun. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to say that is not the sun and this wood is the sun? No. So there you have to now interpret it. So you are not going to take this as literal, mukhya vritti. You have to drop mukhya vritti and you have to give interpretation. So interpretation is needed because it is not matching with prataksha, and that prataksha is also acceptable by Shastra. Shastra also says this is sun. So that is one sun, and now here it says it is sun. Yajmana prastara. Yajman is a piece of stone. So how are you going to think now that? So similarly, the description given in Skanda Purana about the gopis, now he said this is tamasic, so forget about it. Now if it is not contradicting our Bhāgavatam, which we accept as Puran Praman Siromani, then we accept that. And if there is a mismatch or contradiction, then we will interpret Skanda Purana to match with Bhāgavatam. That's the proper way. So this way we do not disrespect other Puranas. So Śrādha Bhāgavate Shastra. So Śrādha is in Bhāgavatam and Anyatra. Also Adar. Give respect to everything else. Otherwise it becomes offense. Okay. So Bhushan, what is troubling you?
Perhaps there's something troubling me. So I'm still not fully clear. I have a small doubt on this Mamatva and Tadiyatma. So it's easier to understand the Tadiyata because the gopis are submissive, and a submissive service, it is said, brings a person under control. So that is clear that the submissive service maybe brings Krishna under control. I'm just not clear how the Mamatva, the service executed by Mamatva, brings Krishna under control.
No, that Mamatva is also service. So there are two ways to do service. One is through Tadiyata, another is through Madhyata. Both are service. One is I do service thinking you are my serviceable, you are the object of my service, and you are honorable to me, little bit of honor is there. Another is that I do service to you, but you should not become too independent, run around here and there and cause trouble to yourself like a child. So mother does service to the child runs to the road and she knows that this is dangerous. So she runs and catches the child. So like that. You are very much concerned about. So because there is more concern in Madhyata than in Tadiyata. More Mamatva. So Mamatva is there, every devotee, except for Shanta Bhakta. Therefore Shanta Bhaktas are not really considered as they are just like tagging along, Chalo bhai. We also tolerate you. But really bhakti starts from dasya. Because bhajitya esa vai dhatu sevayam prakritita. So they are not really doing any service. Their service, if you want to say, is that they just sit and meditate. Okay, that is also. They think of God within themselves. This is great. They say, well, ultimately, what is their logic? Their logic is that who is the king of the senses? Mind. And we focus the mind on Krishna. So this is the best. That's how a Sant Bhakta. Because every Bhakta thinks that he is the best. That's why they remain satisfied. They don't want to give up that. So Dasya says, well, service, I do service, the master, this is the best. That's why gopis become a little problem to understand, especially Madhyata is troubling him. How is this greater than Tadhyata? So love goes to that extent where the roles shift. So that's why this is the greatness of love, that Krishna becomes under their control. The one who is the controller becomes controlled. This is the greatness of love. Now this type of love we do not imagine, because in the material world we are always trying to control. So it's a little hard to think that how is that this is greater, because we are so much accustomed for this controlling idea, and we don't like to be controlled. Independence, freedom, this is the big thing these days, social media. Everybody tries to exercise their freedom without even knowing whether they have some responsibility with it or not. Just do it. So these types of things are problematic. Okay, anything else? So this is important to understand this, because this makes things more clear about what really this Vraj Bhakti is. So now he cites these statements. Yatha tachrutva vachanam tasya lalita krodha murchita uddhavam sasrunayana sovacha rudati tada. So when Uddhava came and gave the message of Krishna, so first reaction is shown here of Lalita. So after hearing his words, Lalita almost fainted in anger. She was so angry. So this is the anger of love. Love also manifests as anger. We only think of love as being soft, humble, kind, compassionate. But love has got various shades. That's why he says aheriva gati premana. That it is not as straight as you think. That's why people don't have much idea of true love in the material world. So she is krodha murchita. Imagine how her anger hit the roof. And Uddhavam sashrunayana sovacha rudati. So then with tears in her eyes, so she is angry and also crying. She's also, generally when you are angry you don't cry. Anger and tear in the eyes don't go together, right? So this is the problematic thing about aheriva gati premna. Svabhave kutila bhavet. So this is the nature. Angry and crying. You'll think this guy is fake. Someone does like this to you, this guy is a big actor, he's angry, showing anger, also crying. Which one is true? Crying or anger? So, and this is not something which they are acting, this is natural, their love manifests like that. So then she spoke, Sri Lalita Uvacha, Asatyo bhinna maryadaha shatha krura jana priyaha ma kritha purto asmakam kathastasya kritatmanaha. So you see how many adjectives he uses for Krishna. Who will use this for one's lover? So he says asatya, that he is a liar. First. Satyam param dhimahi. That's what Bhāgavatam says. Satyavratam satyaparam tu satyam satyasyonim nihitam cha satya. So this is the prayer of the Devas to Krishna when he was in the womb. Even before he was born, he was said that you are Satya. Satyavratam satyaparam. Satyasya satyam. Satyatmakam tvam prapanna. So she says that you are asatya. Means you are a complete liar. Because he said, I will go and come back. He never came back. And bhinna maryadaha. You break all the boundaries of dharma. You are a shatha. So shatha means, what we'll say, hypocrite? Is that the right word? Cheater? Yeah. And krura janapriya. Krura janapriya means both, that the cruel people like you or you like cruel people. Krur jananam priya and krur janam priya, yes. And ma kritha purto asmakam katha tasya kritatmana. And he is an akritatmana, means he is very ungrateful person. Don't talk about him in front of us. We don't want to hear about him. They want to hear about him only and nothing else. There is nothing else that gopis want to hear except Krishna, but now they are saying, don't talk about him. Don't talk about him in front of us, which means you can talk about him to his parents, whoever, but not here. Dhik dhik papa samacharo dhigasau nishthura ashraya hitva yas stri janan mudho gato dvarvatim prati. So now this dhik dhik is something what is called dhikkar in Sanskrit. So like you say fee on you or fee on him. Fie on him. He is a pap samachar. His behavior is very sinful. And fie on him. He is a nishthura ashraya. His ashraya, his heart is nishthura. Very harsh, very cruel. Like people who work in the slaughterhouse, they are very nishthura. And why is that? That hitva yastri janan mudho gato dvara. He says that foolish person, they are calling him fool also. So he left all of us, the ladies here, and went to Dwarka. That's what he is. So don't talk about it. Then Sri Śamala uvacha. Śamala said, Kintasya manda bhagasya hyalpa punyasya dukkhadaha ma krudham katha sakhya katha kathyata para. So he says, Kintasya manda bhagasya. He says he has manda bhagya, his ill fortune. And alpaguna, he has very alpa punyasya. He has very little piety. Dukkhada ma kurudham katha. He said all his stories are just giving us pain. Tav kathamritam. Tapta jivanam. He says his katha is like tapta jivanam, just very burning. Burns the heart. So sakhya katha kathyata para. He says talk some other katha, don't talk about him. Don't want to hear. She is telling to the friends that please speak something else. Sri Dhanya uvacha. Then Sri Dhanya said, Kenayam hi samanito duto dushtajanasya cha yatu te na patha papo yena nayati vaipunaha. This is also very harsh. He says, who has brought this messenger here, messenger of that rascal, that wicked fellow, and he is the messenger of that. Who brought him here? Let him go by the path by which if you go you never come back.
You did get lost.
So what is that path that by which you go you don't come back?
Death.
That is the death. So Papo Yenan, he says he is a sinful guy, he has come here. So Nayati Vaipunena, the one-way road. You go there, black hole, don't return. Means better he dies instead of talking like this. So Sri Vishakha Uvacha na Shīlam na Kulam Yasya Jayate Janma Karma Cha Hinasya Purusharthesu Tena Sango Nirarthakaha. He says nobody knows his character and his family, means to which family does he really belong. He is son of Nanda Maharaj and he is son of Vasudeva. He is the only person who has got two set of parents. Everybody has got one set. So Krishna is so mysterious. So he is Vasudeva Nandan or he is Nanda Nandan. So he says we don't know even about his birth and his activities. Krishna also says Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. My birth and activities are divine. I take birth in two places simultaneously. I have two mothers, two fathers. So that's why it's difficult to understand. He says, Hinasya Purusharthesu. And what is his Purushartha? What is that big things he has done? He killed one snake. He killed one woman, right? One calf, one bull, one horse, one bird. Right? Now these village people do this all the time. And previously there are a lot of forest village people have to deal with snakes and all these animals, they will kill them. He said, did he won any wars with anybody or anything? He ran away from here also, from Mathura, right? Jarasandha came so many times, attacked him. When Kalevan came, he ran. That he had practiced here in Braja. He had good experience of marathon. So that was the first marathon. People say that marathon started where? Where did it start? Somewhere in Rome? Greece. No, actually it started here in Mathura. People, they don't know. So, because he ran from here to, where is that place called? Gujarat, Dakor, or where is that Ramchorman temple? Purushottam Prabhu, throw some light.
It's in Dakor.
Dakor.
Dakor, there is a nice temple of Ranchor Rai.
So how far is it from here? Few hundred kilometers?
It's close to Ahmedabad, so it's about close to 1800 kilometers, 1900 kilometers, something like that. Because Baroda to Mathura is about 1800 kilometers.
So, that's what I thought. It cannot be 1800. It's about 800 or 900. So that is the real marathon. He ran non-stop. That's why he was tired and he went inside the cave and slept there. I mean, anybody would be tired running 900 kilometers. And he was not running like these marathon guys run. He was sprinting. Because it's all happened in one day. So he sprinted. Like what they do 100 meters, that was his speed for 900 kilometers. Like a bullet train, So he went there. So this is his...
It is 890 kilometers. I'm sorry, I checked it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, 1800 is not, that's too much. You'll end up in Kerala probably. And therefore he says, Tena Sango Nirarthaka. He says it's useless to associate with such people. Then speaks the biggest one, Sri Radha Uvachas. Hear what she has to say. He says, Putana ghatane yasya nasti pap kritam bhayam tasya strihanne sadhavya shanka kapi na vidyate. He says the person who was not at all afraid to kill Putana, that it is sinful to kill a woman. Kshatriyas don't kill women. This is against their principle. That's why Bhishma did not want to fight with Shikhandi. Because this is not a dharma for Kshatriya to attack a woman. So he says from his childhood he was like that. So he says, therefore, what agitation he will have in killing us. He says, therefore, ladies don't bother about him. He was born like that. Like they say that, in English also they're saying that, but in Hindi they say that when you are in the cradle, then it is already recognized what you will be when you grow up. So Sri Shabya Vacha, then Shabya said, Satyam Bruhi Mahabhaga Kim Karoti Yaduttama Samvrito Nagara Stribhi Kathama Smakam Karoti Kim. So now you see, this is the Dakshina Gopi speaking now. Shabya, remember Shabya Padma Chandravali. So you see how she is speaking. So Shabya said, Satyam Bruhi Mahabhaga. She is being very respectful. He says, O greatly fortunate one, tell us the truth. Kim Karoti Yaduttama, the best of the Yadus, Sri Krishna, what does he do? What are his daily activities? Samvrito Nagara Stribhi Katha Smakam Karoti Kim. And now he is surrounded by the city ladies. Does he ever talk about us also? So you see the contrast, the previous group and this one. And then Sri Padma Vacha, and Padma said, Kada Uddhava Mahabahur Nagari Janavallabha Sameshyati hi dasharha Padma Patra Etekshana. It says that, Uddhava, when will that great person who has long arms, who is loved by the ladies, will come here? Yasyati dasarha, dasara is name of Krishna, Padma Patra Etekshana, whose eyes are like leaves of lotus. Sri Bhadra Vacha, then Bhadra said, Bhadra was, I think, the Tatastha one. Ha Krishna Gop Pravara, ha Gopi Janavallabha, Samudhara Mahabaho, Gopi Samsara Sagarat. So Bhadra said, O Krishna, O best of the cowherd, O lover of the gopis, please, O with the mighty arms, uplift us the gopis from this ocean of the material world. So this is Bhadra. So here you can see the distinction, at least two groups you can recognize. How one are in the attacking mode, they are the Vamya, they are the Madhyata ones, and how the other ones are soft and respectable, they are the Tadhyata. Eketu Chandravali eva ashtanam madhye manyante na tu dhanyam tasya loke ati prasiddhe. Some people, they count Chandravali among the 8 and not Dhanya, because Dhyan Nishtika, Dhanya, all these Lalita Vishakha there come. So this Somabha was also there, one of them, in the sloka which we read. So Somabha is Chandravali. The Soma means moon and Chandra also means moon. So Chandravali means the rays of the sun, moon. Somabha also means the same. So they count them because she is also well known. Tatra dasa sankhyakam matam. So that is when you count the 10. Natra ekarthyam samarthyati sankhya vashamyat. So he says that when 10 are there, then they are not all in ekartha. Means there is vashamta in sankhya, 8, 10 or 9. So depending on how you count it. Ashta sankhyaakayorapi matayor dhanya paksho na sanghatitum shakyate tatra tatsahitattvena Sri Lalitadinam Panchanam Vama Prakhar Prayatvat. So he says, even when you take the 8 gopis, then even in that Dhanya, they are not able to count them in that. And the reason is because their moods are all different. Tatra tat sahitena lalitadinam panchanam vama prakhar prayatvat. So Lalita, Vishakha, etc., these 5, they are Vama and Prakhara. So they also have these 3 divisions of Prakhara, Madhya and Mridvi. अत्र तु एका भ्रकुटिम् आबध्य इति तिसृणामेव इति चंद्रावली पक्षस्तु संगम्येत. So he says in this sloka, beginning with eka bhrakutim abadhya, that was number 6, which was about Radharani. So he says these 3 make one group, and Chandravali Pakshastu Sangamyet. So then you have the other Paksha Chandravali. Tasya Dakshina Varga Agramittvena Sthapishyamanattvat Vam Dakshinayor Dvayoropi Vargayos Trisankhyakatvena Shatatve Dvabhyam Shamal Bhadrabhyam Chanyabhyam Ashtata Paryapto Sughatata Syat. So he says then you make 2 groups of 3 belonging to Chandravali, 3 belonging to Radha, and then you add Shyamala and Bhadra. So then it becomes 8. So Shyamala was already mentioned there, and Bhadra he added from the Vishnu Purana sloka. So he says this is how you get 8. So that means 8 does include Chandravali according to this counting. तदेवं स्थिते या पुनरुत्तर वर्ग प्रथमा एका भ्रुकुटी इत्यादि वर्णिता सा परम भाव सौभाग्यो उपरि काष्ठापन्यत्वात् श्री राधा एव. So now basically now rest of the thing he is going to talk about Srimati Radha, because she is the supreme. So he says that among all of them, the first one in the second group, which is Eka Bhrukutum Abadhya, is described in sloka number 6. So sa param bhav saubhagyo upari kashtha apannatvat Sri Radha. So that is Sri Radha, because she has the ultimate limit of good fortune of having the supreme love for Krishna. Param bhav saubhagya upari saubhagya parikashtha apanyat. Yatha, so now he quotes these slokas, these are the famous ones. Yatha Radha Priya Vishnu Tasya Kundam Priyam Tatha Sarva Gopishu Saiveka Vishnu Ratyanta Vallabha. Just as Radha is Priya to Krishna, here the word Vishnu means Krishna. Her Kunda, the pond, is also dear to him, and among all the gopis, he alone is the utmost dear of Krishna. Iti Padmukte, from Padma Purana. And Radha Vrindavane Vane iti Matsya Skandadibhya. So there is a description in Matsya Purana and also Skanda Purana where Durga is speaking that I am Rukmani in Dwarka and I am here, so and so there. She says Radha Vrindavane Vane, I am Radha in Vrindavan. So there also Radha is described as the Supreme. Devi Krishna Mayi Prokta Radhika Pardevata Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva Kanti Sammohani Para. So Devi Radha is called Krishna Mayi. It's Radhika, who is the Supreme Goddess, and she is embodiment of all Lakshmi, all beauty, and Supreme enchantress of Krishna. So this is from Brihad Gautamiya Tantra, which also has a lot of description of Radha Krishna worship on the Yog Peeth, etc. described there. Radhaya Madhavo Devo Madhave Naiva Radhika Vibhrajante Janeshoti. So Madhav appears wonderful with Radha and Radha with Madhav. This is how they manifest. This is from Rik Parishishta. Sa tathaiv Sri Jadeva Sahacharena Maharaj Lakshmana Sena Mantri Varena Umapati Dharena. So she is also described by Umapati Dhara, who was a minister of King Lakshman Sen, who was friend of Jadev Kavi, the poet, author of Geet Govinda. Srobhruvalli Valanai Kayapi Nainonmeshai Kayapi Smita Jyotsna Vichritai Kayapi Nibhritam Sambhavita Swadhvani Garvodbhedakrita Vahela Lalita Shribhaji Radhanane Satankanunayam Jayanti Patita Kansadusho Drishtayah. So he's basically describing how Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, how he's trying to plead Radha, Satanka Anunayam Jayanti Patita Kansadayas. So all glories to the glance of Krishna, who is looking at Radha with fear and pleading mood. Means Radha is in Man. And then rest is describing Garbhodbheda Krita Vehela Lalita Shri Bhaji Radhanani. So he is looking at the face of Radha, who has the beauty of Garva Udbheda Krita Avehela. Avehela means like disrespect, out of Garva, pride. So she is in the mood of disrespecting Krishna. And that also manifests a special beauty on her face. Krishna is looking at her and trying to plead to her not to be so upset. So Bhruvalli Valanai Kayapi Nainon Meshai Kayapi Smit Jyotsna Vichrutai Kayapi Nibhritam Sambhavita Sadhvani. So he's describing her eyebrows arched and Nainon Mesha, opening of the eyes, the smile, throwing the light or the beautiful rays of her smile, and Nibhritam Sambhavitasya Dhvani. So on the path, in some solitary area. So he says that the great poets, of course Jadev describes, but Jadev's this another poet also describes. So here also Radha is described as a Vamya Gopi. Vivritam Chaitan Madanuj Varai Sri Rupa Mahabhagavatai Rujjal Nilmane Sthai Bhav Vivaranai. So you see this commentary is by Sri Sanatana Goswami. It's clear from here. So he says this also has been described my younger brother, the great devotee Sri Rupa Goswami, in her book called Ujjal Nilmani, in the Sthai Bhav chapter. So that means Dasam Tippani was written after that, according to this statement. So this must be much late then, right? Because Rupa Goswami wrote Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu first, and then Ujjal Nilmani, and he's making a mention of Ujjal Nilmani. So this must be much later. Vivrit, okay. Ato Gandharveti Yasri Gopal Tapanyam Prasiddha Sapi Mukhatva Lingena Ayameveti Manyante. So therefore in Gopal Tapni, one who is called Gandharva or Gandharvika is also Srimati Radharani, because all the symptoms which we see here are matched there. Asyaha Prahlad Samhitayam Purva Apekshaya Vachana Kausalyam Madhyatvam. So he says that according to the statements found in Prahlad Samhita of Skanda Purana, so her statements are very what would you say, Kausalyat, expert, very, what will be the right word here for the artistic statements. So she is Madhya. So she is called Madhya. Atra cha kopavasare api लीला विशेष मात्र वंजित प्रागल्भ्यतया बाहु धारिण्यादि अपेक्षया मध्यात्वं च समानम. Here also, here in Bhāgavatam, at the time of showing her anger, because she was showing her anger, so he says that she is showing us her pragalbha. There are pragalbhas, gopis. So she is showing her pragalbhya by specific appearance. So, especially in comparison to the one who was holding the hand, that was Sabya, one who had the arm. Chandravali was holding the hand and taking the arm on shoulder. So, Madhyatmam. Shyamala. Okay. अस्या ओके अथया परा अनिमिषत इत्यादि न तत्सखी वर्णिता सा श्री ललिता इति अवगम्यते. So now he is giving the proper names. So the one which was described animishat, without blinking the eyes, apara animishat drigvyam jushanat tanmukhambujam apitam api natripyat Santastacharnam yatha, sloka number 7. So that is Lalita. Vamya prakhariyabhyam samyat, because she is Vamya and Prakhara. Samprati nati vyamyadikam tu nijvar sakhi nishat drikpat ghata jat tatakshobha darshanena ati santoshat. So he says that present there is not excessive Vamya which is described. Why is that? That she was already satisfied that her friend, her best friend, that is Radharani, she had wounded Krishna with her sharp looks. Nishat, Drikpat, Ghat, Jata. She is being very poetic. These are all kridantas. Tapratyaya. Light. So by seeing the disturbance in Krishna's face by the attack of Radharani's looks at him, she was happy enough with that. So she didn't want to do anything extra. So this is enough. ऐसा च राधानुराधा इति या भविष्योत्तर पठिता तदपर पर्याय एव. So this is Radha Anuradha. So this is Anuradha is another name for Lalita, described in Bhāgavatam Purana. Tatra ca pathasya namnoscha yugmata mayatva avgato ratrapi samvargata. So just as Radha Anuradha are spoken there as together like a couplet. So similarly here also it is to be understood, and therefore they belong to the same group. Prapta sakhi vrinda prathmokter mukhyata prapti samyat. And attaining the mukhyata prapti means what you call it, head of the group. Prapt sakhi vrinda prathmokter mukhyata prapti samyat. In the Prathamokta. Yeah, it's saying that because she is like the chief one, Radha Anuradha, that's why the names are also like that. Anuradha means one who follows Radha. So Sakhi Vrinda Prathamokta means one who is the first among the Sakhis is Radha, and she is equal to her Samyat. अथतम काचिन नेत्ररंध्रेण इत्यादि वर्णित तत्सखी तु प्राय विशाखा एव वाम्य मार्दवम मार्दवाभ्याम साम्यात्. And the one which is described in verse number 8, that is Vishakha, who was taking him through the path of the eyes and holding in the heart and enjoying like a yogi. So this is Vamya and Mardava. So Mridu and Prakhara. So other one was Prakhara, this is Mridu. But they are all Vamya. Then Prahlad Samhitayam api na Shīlam ityadikam tad vakyam tadrisham eva. So our statement in Prahlad Samhita was also na Shīlam na Kulam yasya jayate janma karam cha. So it was similar. Athiya pratham vargasya prathama sasi Chandravali eva. So the first one of the first group, that is Chandravali, one who came and took her Krishna's hand in her hands. Yata Shri Radhaya saha Pratiyogitaya ahatiya asya eva virajate. So she has rivalry with Srimati Radha. This is understood from the stories. Tathacha Sri Bilva Mangal Charana. Bilva Mangal has also written like this. Radha Mohan Mandirad Upagatas Chandravalim Uchivan Radhe Kshemam Heti Tasya Vachnam Srutva Chandravali Kamsha Kshemamaye Vimugdha Hridaya Kamsah Kva Drishtastvaya Radha Kveti Vilajjito Natmukha Smero Hari Patuvaha. So there is one anubhav, it is called Gotrasklanam. Gotrasklanam means when you take the wrong name of the beloved. When you have more than one girlfriend, so you go to one girlfriend and take the name of the another one. So then obviously this one freaks out. So this is called, this has a technical name. It is a common mistake men make. It is so common that in Rasa Shastra this has been recognized as one trait, Gotrasklanam, slip of the tongue. Sometimes they do it when they are awake, and sometimes it happens when they are sleeping. In the sleep, they are with one, and in the dream they think of another one. Because that's the human mind. Man's mind is like that. He is with one and thinking of another one. This is the difference between the mind of a man and a woman. This is male psychology, so to understand. So Radha Mohan Mandirad Upgata. So Krishna, he came from Radha's place. Radha Mohan Mandirad Upgata. Chandravali Mochivan. And then he spoke to Chandravali. And what did he say? Radhe Kshemam Iheti. He says, oh Radhe, how are you? So then Chandravali, see how she reacts. You see, it's not that immediately you start beating him with a broom or something. Like in India, the women will do that. They take a broom and they beat. So Chandravali heard this. So then she says that, where did you see Kamsa? Kamsa kwa drishtastvaya, because you are talking about how is Kamsa. She is so upset that she's thinking of Radha as Kamsa. So he says, Kamsa kshemamaye vimugdha hridaya. He says, your mind is so vimugdha, bewildered, that you are asking about Kamsa's welfare when you are with me. Where did you see Kamsa? See, this is a real attack. This is called Vyanjana attack. So now when he heard this, Kva drishtastvaya Radha kva iti vilajjito Nat Mukha Smero Hari Patu. So, where is Radha? Hearing this, Krishna, out of shame, put his face down. So he says that Hari may protect me. Prayer. It's like Bhishma was praying that I want to think of that Krishna who was attacking me with that Rathang Haste, that having the wheel of the chariot in his hand, and he wants to meditate on that and die. So he is meditating on when Krishna is in this problematic situation. This is his meditation. Artha samya prayadiyam bhavishyottara khyata somabha eva va syat. So he says because of the similarity of the meaning, this is somabha, which is described in Bhavishyottara. The 10 gopis are described. So somabha is there, which is Chandravali. Athya tasya dvitiya kachit dadhare ityadina radha sruhid varnita sa syamla bhavet. And the second one, who is Sruhit of Sri Radha, she is Syamla, one who was taking the hand on her shoulder. Prahlad samhitayam lalitadi gane pravishya hitopades danena tasya swahidya lakshana ugati. So in Prahlad Samhita, she is part of the group of Lalita, and by giving beneficial instructions, she does good to them. That is what Swahridya or Swahit means. Sakhinam sam dukha pralapita bhavati kinchid vyantaritasya tu hitopades datrita drishyate. So this is how the Sruhid Paksha gopis, they act. That's Sakhinam sam dukha pralapita bhavati. When the gopis are in pain, suffering, separation, and they also console them speaking like that. And kinchid vyatirantasya hitopades datrita drishyate. And sometimes they don't join them, but they try to give them good instructions. You should not have done this, next time do like this, and so on. Yameva Śrīmad-Bhāgavata tatparya darshita līlākhya bhavet. So, according to Madhvacharya in Bhagavad Tatparya, she is supposed to be Leela. Atha kachid anjalena iti eka tadangrihiti varnita ye chandravali sakhyau tatha Vishnu Purane yatasthastha varnita takramena Shabya Padma Bhadrasya. And then the other two are Shabya and Padma, and the one from Vishnu Purana is Bhadra. So that makes 8. Sevakvat danyena sanjagamishaya natisput bhavisheshatvena cha samyat. Because this Bhadra is having danya like a servant, and sanjagamishaya natisput bhava does not express her bhav very clearly. So now just ends with the 2 slokas. Mahanubhava sammatya yukti prayam vilekhitat yat tatra krishna stadiyascha mamananya gater gatihi. So he says that in accordance with the mood of great devotees like Sukadeva Goswami, I have written this using some sort of logic, yukti prayam. Therefore Krishna and his devotees, they are my shelter, who has no other shelter. Ta madvarnya raho lila namna sankocham apnuyu munina evam huta hunana kshamanta mama chapalam. So he says that these gopis, their names were not disclosed, and only their activities were described here. So the Muni Sukadeva Goswami Nuta Anhuna. So he was not revealing the names, but I have revealed them. So I may be forgiven for my this act of chapalata. So that's certainly Jiva Sanatana Goswami, who is very humble. But it's amazing that how he recognizes this.
So these are the commentaries on what verse were? On
Commentaries on what?
The commentary that you covered tonight, where is it from in the Bhāgavatam?
This is number 8.
On verse number 8. Sanatana Goswami tonight and Jiva Goswami was yesterday, last night.
This is the way it is put here is as if it is by Jiva Goswami, but now when we read, it appears to be of Sanatana Goswami.
Achha.
So there is a confusion because this Laghu Toshni and Vaishnav Toshni, they are quite similar. So there becomes a confusion whether this one is by Jiva Goswami or is it by Sanatana Goswami. And when people print books, they don't pay much attention. Yes.
Could you please explain the difference between Suhrit and Sapaksha?
Sapakshas are with them 100%. It's like I told yesterday that you have an army. So they are your soldiers, they are with you. You go this way, attack this side, they go and attack with you. They are called Sapaksha. Surit who gives advice to you. That actually better to do this way, or when they are facing some problem, consoling them. That's what Shraddha is.
And I couldn't really understand, I don't know if this is important, but that this second of the gopis who took Krishna's arm on her shoulder, she seemed to be very similar to the first one who took the hand of Krishna, just in terms of behavior and mood. And is there any specific reason why she was then characterized as being Surit and not Sapaksha?
Because the Sapaksha ones did not come near him. If you see the last three, they remained away. You saw that?
Oh yeah, yes. I mean, no. I mean Sapaksha with respect to the first group.
First group.
No, the second one was Vipaksha, not Sapaksha.
No, the second was Suhrit.
So that I think is only by seeing the other descriptions, because there these names are mentioned. The whole thing is that this description is there and then they are trying to fit this in the 8 or 10 which are described elsewhere. So that's how he is doing it. Sandeep ji.
Babaji Maharaj, I think you explained in the beginning to, I think, one of the questions, that this service mood is there both in Tadhyatamayi and Madhyatamayi. But again, you explained here we have that controlling kind of a nature, so it's not considered very good, like if you say you are mine, something, trying to control that person of possessiveness. But there it is one of the highest. How does this shift, is it that Sathai Bhav is there, that is why this shift happens? How, for a sadhaka, how does this shift come?
No, there is no shift for sadhaka.
No, if I start considering that you are mine for Krishna, so you are mine, and then how do if I say that I am yours, so I am yours means whatever I do I do it for you because I am yours. And whatever my actions is for you. Whatever I say you are mine, so I am doing something for myself and yes, you are also mine. So how does...
So first you have to understand that sadhaka is not that is shifting this to or that to. Sadhaka is doing sadhana and the sadhana is coming from the Guru. So this is the bhav which comes from Guru. It is not a shifting and then you suddenly shift. But you have to understand what is what. So here it is being explained that this is what actually Gaudiya Vaishnavism is. Gaudiya Vaishnavism is about Madhyata, not about Tadhyata. So that's why they are explaining it. Anything else? Okay.
Is the Nimbarka Sampradaya is Tadhyata then? Because they believe in Nitya Vihar?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And they follow Swakiya mode.